Sound check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sound check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What's up, early arrivers? What's up, Hunter? What's up, Risky? What's up, Nightbot? What's up, Nemi? What's up, Matt? What's up, Goldheart? CC Mathers? That's Sutron Gaming for the win. Conte. The first 20 people get shout-outs. Good morning, Vietnams! Sorry, I had to do that one. That's from a Robin Williams movie. So thank you guys for joining the Theory Chat show. This is the 5th episode of Theory Chat, and I just got a new PC in today, and so today the show is all yours. I'm going to be answering questions. I've got a little bit of an outline, but I don't have anything super lined up, so I can just answer questions. You guys can, figure stuff out, and we can talk about all the different theories that took place for the last 6 months, as we are less than 1 month away from Resident Evil 7. As always, you can follow me on Twitter at Where's Barry B, on Facebook at Where's Barry B, and on Instagram at Where's Barry B. And Twitter is the best way to get in contact with me. Now let's start the show. What's up, Zoms? Thank you for tuning in again to Theory Chat. And the first thing you're going to notice about me is probably this cool shirt, because who can tell me in the chat who this shirt belongs to? Whose shirt is it? Not my shirt, somebody else's shirt. Yes. What's up, Ashley? Welcome to your first Theory Chat. This is episode 5. Yes, I finally got my Jack Baker shirt in the mail. This is step 1 of my costume. I'll be doing a live Resident Evil 7 play at midnight the day it comes out, and maybe I'll be looking like Jack Baker. I don't know. So stay tuned to that. I'll actually set that up and have a link so you can have it, coming up. And no, Lily J. Walker, I will not dress up as Marguerite next stream, because my hair is already more ladylike than Marguerite, and it's out of control again. I've got I've got some hair options coming in to be Jack Baker. So today I thought we'd just kind of go through different things that we know so far in the game, and if you guys have any questions, you know where to leave them in the chat or on Twitter at Where's Barry B with the hashtag WBTheoryChat. That is where I find all these great questions. So yeah, we're less than a month away. I'm really white on the screen here. Let me just fix that real quick. My gosh, I look like Powder or Casper, or insert ghost here. Alright, that should be better. So I guess the first thing I'll talk about while I'm waiting on some of your questions is the weapons that we have in the game. That's something that everybody was curious about in the beginning. That's something, one of the original theories we ever came up with was what weapons are going to be in the game. And pretty much got it just about right with it copying exactly what Resident Evil 1 had. So we've got a handgun, which is an M19, yeah, an M19 handgun, and I think it's based on something. I'm not really good with weapons, but M1911 style handgun. And that's the handgun that we had in the demo. So I'm guessing it's the handgun we have in the game, although people said the one that they've seen in the trailers looks different from the one in the demo. So maybe there's a couple different kinds of handguns. And one of the things noticed about, that reminded me of the gun while playing through the old versions of these games was that, oh my gosh, it's the worst song ever. Was that in the other games they have handgun parts, and if you watch the live stream, which are weeknights at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I played through 1, 2, and 3, and now I'm on Code Veronica. And in Resident Evil 3, there was a part where you fight Nemesis in the beginning, and you kill him, and you get some handgun parts. So it'll be interesting to see if there's any kind of upgrades to the weapons. I will lower the background music for you. Sorry about that. I just have a totally new setup today because I got my awesome new PC in there. Anyway, I still look like a freaking Casper the Friendly Ghost. Goldheart says we also discovered a shotgun. Yep. So the shotgun is an M37, and we learned that from one of the tapes that Capcom sent us, those short tapes. And that kind of gun is based on M37. I had it written down, and now I don't have it anymore. Anyway, it's kind of a pump-action shotgun. It's been used by military. It's been used by police. And we actually know 2 different places to find a shotgun, and we're not sure if they're both the same shotgun or if one's better than the other. But one place you can find the shotgun is in that statue of the American soldier that we've seen in the house. And the other place you can find it is you can actually find a broken shotgun, and that was told to us by people who had played the game. And I believe it was Biohazard France said you could use the chem fluids to repair the broken shotgun to have the shotgun, or you could solve a puzzle to get the shotgun out of the soldier's hands. And it's supposed to be somehow related to like a classic Resident Evil puzzle to get the shotgun. So I was thinking some kind of replacement type thing, but we don't know exactly what the puzzle's going to be. But that would be very interesting if it was Jill Sandwich related and we had to solve a simple replacement puzzle to get the new shotgun. Everybody was talking about the M1911 gun. Demon Z28 says that was Billy's handgun in Resident Evil 0, I assume. Brenton asks, any more info about the chainsaw? That was one of the first weapons that we knew about as well from the CEDEC leaks. And it looks like Jack Baker is going to be one of the people that uses the chainsaw, and I don't know that we're going to be able to use it. If you notice throughout the different scenes that we've seen so far, Jack Baker has a bunch of different melee weapons, and I don't think we're going to be able to pick them up and use them against him, but he's got like a lawnmower, rototiller blade thing that he hits you with. He's got, just big 2x4s. What was the other thing? Was it an axe? It was some kind of like axe-styled thing. And then, the chainsaw was another one there. But I don't know if we're going to get to use the chainsaw or not. The other weapon that we know is in the game is the grenade launcher. And we know that you're going to be able to make different kinds of rounds using, again, the chem fluids, this really important item in the game. So far, we know there's gas rounds, and we know there's flame rounds, and I guess there's probably regular explosive rounds. So there are different kinds of grenade rounds that you can create in the game. We also know there's a Magnum because it's in the cage, in the upgrade cage. So we'll be saving up our coins to upgrade to the Magnum, and I guess you don't have to do that, but my goal in the beginning when I play through is to save all my coins to get that Magnum, because the Magnum is an awesome weapon. And the final thing that somebody told us, that a bunch of people told us about who played the game, the media, was the flamethrower. And it's not like a flamethrower from Resident Evil 1 where it's like a giant thing with 2 cartridges and you know. But it's more of a handheld thing, and one of the people described it as a hairspray can with a bike handlebar, which reminded me of Fallout, like where you make your own weapons. But so you apparently make this, either you make it or you find it that way. And it's just kind of a hand blowtorch thing. And that, I think, is the flamethrower that everybody's been talking about. Blue Sheep asks what I'm wearing. This is my Jack Baker shirt that I will be wearing when I play the game. Jack Baker says, how do we ask questions on Twitter or how do we tweet to you? Well, you can use the @Where'sBarryB and you use the hashtag WBTheoryChat. And then I can pull up all those questions with the click of a button. Dead Severed Heads wants to know about the progress on the Crimson Army shirts. Let me just show you those. These shirts, I'm getting mine in coming up here in the next week or so, and I'll examine it and make sure it's top quality before I start giving them away. So that's the update on that. Goldheart says, aren't there other crafting items? I'm guessing there might be some different weapons maybe we can create on our own. But I am not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure if you make the flamethrower or not. But the guy, actually, I mean, I can read you the exact quotes. And it sounds like you do make it yourself. Alright, flamethrower. Games Radar says, while you can acquire a range of pistols, so it sounds like you can get more than one pistol. Shotguns with a plural. I don't know. Maybe the shotguns are different. A knife and even a jerry-rigged flamethrower, apparently made out of hairspray and a bike handlebar. That is what Games Radar said was in the game there. And I don't even think that they found the grenade launcher. IGN said, after a few hours, I salvaged a knife, handgun, shotgun, flamethrower, grenade launcher, and spied a magnum. And those are just classic items that have been in other games, except, well, the flamethrower's been in other games, but maybe not in this type of way. Gamer Squad says, do you think Lucas will be the boss? And Okara asks, is Jack Baker going to turn into a monster? I guess we could talk about just the Baker family. It seems like they all have different kinds of powers or something like that. And Jack is obviously some kind of superhuman. I don't know that he'll turn into a monster. Now, Resident Evil will tell you, if you look at the history, that he's definitely going to turn into a monster. Because in every Resident Evil game, the boss turns into a monster, then you kill him again, and then he turns into another monster, and then he comes back, and then he's a bigger monster. And it's very, I don't know, the whole game obviously is unrealistic, it's a game. But that's just kind of a weird, I don't know. This game seems more realistic, whereas the mold creatures are actually the regular size of a human, maybe a little bit bigger than a human. The insects are all small, they're actual size. So I think the monsters and enemies in this game might stick around their regular size that they are in real life, with almost like they're on steroids. So the dog would be maybe a little bigger if we see a dog. But right now, we only know of the molded. We know there's some kind of molded looking creature, maybe a pre or post mold, maybe an advanced mold, a harder mold, a faster mold, that we've seen for like a split second from like 100 yards away in the trailer. And then the 3 Bakers, well, actually we've only seen 2 of the Bakers fight us, and we don't know about Lucas yet. I think we'll probably end up encountering Lucas, but I don't know, from the beginning I always thought that when his dad sliced his hand off, that he was going to turn on his family at some point and maybe either help us out or at least not attack us. What's up, Ace Bugs Gaming? He says, yes, the Bakers are from deep southwest Virginia. They owned a gun shop next to an umbrella shop. Nice. Okay, James Brennan says that the other gun we saw was the Glock 17. And it sounds like they both might be in the actual game. The thing about the logo, Hostess, anything different about the umbrella logo on the chopper. So I was thinking, doesn't Neo Umbrella have the same logo but like different colors? And that the photo we find in the demo is black and white. So maybe it's the Neo Umbrella logo? I don't know. I haven't really looked into that yet. All I did was Umbrella today, and then I'm gonna do Neo Umbrella, Tricell, and Shenya, I think is the newest Bad Company. Bad Company. But they're not a shining star or shooting star. L1 Gaming says the whole family will merge like Voltron and you'll have to fight the Mega Baker. That sort of was a joke people were saying, like the Power Rangers or Transformers or Voltron. But I wouldn't put it past Resident Evil for all three Bakers to come together and form some giant Baker monster where if you shoot the dad, he takes all the bullets and the woman's shooting bugs out of her, you know what, and Lucas is like, grabbing you. I don't know. Goldheart says, do you think the grandma could also be a neutral character? That would be... It seems... I don't even know if she's in the family or not. But the two thoughts are she's either the grandma and, she's just... a vegetable basically, or she was either related to Spencer or Trevor or has some connection. She might be the one connected to everything outside of what we've seen so far. And if so, she might have been at this house and the Baker family might have kind of taken over her house because she can't move or anything. And maybe they keep her around for some reason like that. Or she could be part of their family and maybe the Bakers are related to somebody in Umbrella. Hellhound says, I'd like to see Umbrella make a comeback. Yeah, Umbrella, I guess, has been gone since the end of, Resident Evil 5, and then it kind of turned into Neo Umbrella, and now it's turned into the Shenya or whatever. But the idea of Umbrella is always there. They're the kind of the basis of everything that has happened after, even from these other companies. The viruses that they created were like... So even if Umbrella doesn't exist anymore, the virus could be traced back to Umbrella, whoever's using it, even the Bakers, if they somehow created it themselves, or if it's one of these big corporations, it can probably be traced back to Umbrella at some point. And it'll be interesting when we see in like 5 years some other Chronicle game come out where they tell us the storyline that they've made up after the fact. Because I was actually watching the Umbrella Chronicle cutscenes and everything and seeing all the different side stories that they kind of added onto. Nampo asks, if Resident Evil is out, can you make videos about secrets, Easter eggs, stuff like that? Yeah, definitely. I've done a walkthrough before for Resident Evil 6, and you can find it on my channel, and it was very in-depth. It took me, I would guess it took me 2 weeks to create it. That's how much work I put into it. Nobody watched it. Nobody cared, and that was just Leon Chapter 1. Maybe not even Chapter 1 through, 1-5. I think it was, 1-1. And it took 2 weeks to make, and people weren't into that. So I'll come up with short videos just like I did for the demo where, how do you get the handgun? Here it is. How do you solve the shotgun puzzle? And no, I won't put the, solutions in the titles or the thumbnails. So don't have to worry about that one. But you will have to worry about that just overall on the internet. And even coming up here in the next couple weeks, if the game comes out, if a review copy comes out, somebody plays the review copy, talks about it. Spoilers are coming. They're coming, and they will be fierce, and they will rip your head off. Gamer Squad says, will I play Resident Evil 6 again? Yeah, I think I have to do that. I think it's a requirement if you're a Resident Evil channel to play all the games. Now, I kind of want to talk about the grandma again. What do you guys think the grandma's role is going to be in the game? Do you think she'll be a good guy? Do you think she'll be a bad guy? Do you think she'll be neutral? Do you think she'll be like, what are you buying? And she's actually the merchant in disguise? Let me know in the comments, and I'll read a couple of your answers. And by the way, this show was originally going to be like a podcasty type of show, but I thought the video would be even cooler, and I could have some different visuals. And oh, look, it's my new computer. Oh, it's down there. I now have this computer, so now this show can get a little bit better. I just got it in today, but it's going to be, I'll be able to do a lot more cool stuff. I'll be able to show you different things. I'll be able to have different Skype calls, maybe even like a CNN thing with like 2 or 3 different people on the screen. So I've got a lot of good ideas for this show going forward. So look forward to that. All right, Matthew Anderson said, kind of like the merchant. Diani says the grandma will be an informant. That'd be interesting. Conte also says she'll give us advice. Now, the lady on the phone is kind of doing our objectives and giving us the advice. Do you think they're both working together? Hellhound says in the end, she's going to be the one who's controlling everything. And one of the things is, she's just in the chair like that. Maybe her mind is like super smart and is out in the world, like Alex Wesker put her mind in Natalia or whatever. Maybe her mind is somehow moving through the different family members, and she's kind of like her brain is so big it can go elsewhere. I don't know. I'm sure that's been in a movie before, but that would be an interesting way where you think she's harmless, but in reality she's like the smartest person ever, and can you move her brain to different things? L1 Gaming says, nice sunset in the backdrop. I have to turn on my white light so that my face isn't like pink, and obviously it's turned me into Casper here, and I can't fix it. Bang Kill says he thinks Wesker's sister is the grandma. Yeah, there's a lot of connections she could have. She could be Trevor Spencer's wife, Wesker's grandma, Wesker's sister, whatever. I forgot how old Wesker was. Man, he must be 60. Oh, but he's dead. If you guys want to upset people, just tell them that Wesker's alive, and they will go crazy. Tyrell says, did you know this is not the first-person Resident Evil because of Resident Evil Survivor? Yes. And did you guys also know that Code Veronica has a first-person mode? I just learned that 3 days ago when I started playing. And I watched a video on it, and it looks kind of like Resident Evil 7. Because every first-person game looks exactly the same. Evan says maybe over time she'll mutate and we'll have to fight her. Yeah, that's another thing. Again, in line with the Bakers, will these characters actually mutate into something bigger? Or is the virus, fungus, bacteria, whatever we're facing, just kind of like a steroid almost, where it just makes you get slightly smarter, get these slight powers instead of just growing into these giant monsters. L1 says, I wonder if the cages will be the merchant in the game. It seems like it because you can buy upgrades either for your health, for, what was the other one? Fast reload, and then those are injections, and you just self-serve in the cage, I think. Now the cage is in a camper, trailer, I don't know what you call it and where you're from. We call it a camper, an RV. So maybe it will somehow move from location to location, and when it gets to the next location, it'll have bigger and better items in it. I'm not exactly sure about that, but that'll be interesting to see if there's just one upgrade trailer and we come back to it, and maybe after 2 hours of gameplay it has new items, or if there's only 3 items to upgrade. I think there's a lot more to the game than we know about, and different settings besides the plantation. And just playing through the Resident Evil 1 through 4 through Code Veronica, where there's different settings in all of these games. So, and yeah, thanks everybody for checking out Theory Chat episode 5. There are 4,200 plus Zoms now in the Crimson Army. Thanks everybody for spreading the word and sharing the videos and giving the likes. 21 likes so far. And for all the people who have subscribed that are new, welcome to the Crimson Army. We have a lot of fun, mostly with the chat and the live streams, video game plays of Resident Evil games that take place during the week at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But that's all about the chat, too. And talking about Resident Evil 7 coming up until the game comes out. And then we'll see what happens after. And I'm sure we'll have plenty to talk about once the game comes out and once we play through it, 20 times in a row and still miss all the secrets. Fernie says, could Jack Krauser be Jack Baker? No, I don't think so. Or is Jack Krauser someone different? I don't know. I don't think it'd be Krauser from Resident Evil 4. James says Krauser is dead. Blue Sheep says, I don't think that Mia survived for 3 years after the boat explosion in the Baker house, which I think means you think that she's already dead or the kitchen killer or transformed or infected. And that could very well be the case. And one of the things that I was thinking before was, what if the Baker family is tricking Ethan to come to the house? So Mia's not even alive or she's infected, and they've used her voice to make fake phone calls. They actually don't seem smart enough to be able to do a voice changer or manipulate her voice out of nothing. So I kind of just debunked my own thought right there. SCH Gaming says the DNA upgrades are like Bioshock. Tyrell says, what if the Wesker that died was a clone? I really hate that they added clones to the Resident Evil storyline, and now they can explain anything they want with clones. Anybody can come back to life. Spencer could come back to life, as anybody could. And that's kind of annoying. I like the realism of these games, and it sounds weird that a zombie game would have realism, but the zombies are slow moving, human sized, not a lot of monsters. But then as the series went on, the monsters got bigger and bigger and bigger, and it was kind of out of control, considering it was supposed to take place in the United States or in a country, and nobody around was supposed to know that there was a 30-foot monster. Yeah, what if they're Exodia? What if there are 50 Jack Bakers running around? We kill one and another comes out because everybody's cloned. It's like, what is the... Oh, man, I can't remember. The cartoon where there's like 1,000... Oh, the Fantasia. Yes, what if it's like Fantasia and every time you chop a Baker in half, it becomes 2 Bakers? Goldheart says there haven't been any details about the little girl. Yeah, we pretty much know her name by now. It seems like that information is out. I won't say it, but you'll hear it in the next week or so. But other than a name, we don't know anything about her. We did hear 2 lines in the Tape 3 trailer where it talked about, she said something about kill him, mommy, I think was what she said. So that was interesting. It sounds like she is some kind of a bad guy. And originally I thought maybe she's like the puppet master controlling everyone. Again, is it the grandma? Is it the little girl? Is it nobody? The producer, Yun, he said nobody's pulling the strings, and maybe it's not bigger than the Bakers, but I don't really believe that. There's got to be something bigger than the Bakers, right? Okay, you got Host and Exodia said, Mia hates you, kill him, mommy. That was the exact line. Or mommy hates you? I don't know. All right, see ya, Ashley. And what's up, Seek? I saw you in there for a minute. What's up, Mel Blanc? Sorry, I usually give all the shout-outs in the beginning. What's up, Caliban? Caliban designed the shirt and the intro to all the Where's Barry videos. Objective Apple says, do you think the little girl is real or just a hallucination? What do you guys think? I think you guys should answer that question. Little girl real, or is she a hallucination? I don't know. I don't know. That's hard to say. Again, I hate the fact that could be a possibility where it's something that's not really happening is happening. but that's definitely a possibility. Host says both Mia and Ethan can see her. I don't know. Did we? I don't think we've found that out yet. The only time we've seen the little girl was when I think you're Mia on a boat. I don't think you're Ethan when the little girl's there. So I don't know that Ethan has even seen her yet. Brenton says there's always someone pulling the strings, another company, another boss. John P. says the little girl is possibly a molder gone wrong. The other thing is we talked about last week was Mia on the boat and it exploded, and was Mia part of, this company, that company. On whatever that boat was, might have had BOWs on it, and that little girl might be one of them created by somebody, and it might have, in the boat crash, like Mia, washed away towards Louisiana. Or it could have something to do with the Baker family and be like one of their daughters or whatever, because we know the Bakers had a daughter. We were guessing it's the girl on the phone. Maybe that girl had a daughter. And the Bakers took her. We don't really know. Maybe the Bakers kidnapped the little girl and the virus, whatever, transformed her into some creepy little creep. Goldheart says the little girl could be a ghost. Conte agrees. I don't know that they're gonna throw ghosts in. Again, why that sounds weird that you can't have ghosts, but you can have giant monsters. It doesn't make sense, but I don't think they're gonna do supernatural stuff. Nemi says, will the Bakers be calling, tracking, and hunting Ethan? Yeah, I'm wondering if the Bakers can hear the phone ring, and if that would bring them towards you. All right, let's go to the Twitter at Where's Barry B. Here's some Twitter questions from Jack Baker. Do you think Lucas is the hooded guy in the trailer? That is a good question that we've kind of forgotten since that was so long ago. I haven't seen it in any videos. I haven't talked about it. We haven't talked about the hooded character, who I originally thought was Jake, not from State Farm, but from Resident Evil 6. But then we saw Lucas wearing the hoodie at the dinner table, and I think everyone assumed that was him. However, people thought because it's first person and we see the reflection, it's probably Ethan wearing his hood before Lucas stole it from him. So that's my best bet, is that the character we see in the hood is actually Ethan. And the reason that we can see him even in a first-person game is because it's not him, it's the reflection of him. So we're actually the camera is us looking into our own reflection as Ethan. And I think when he gets captured, Lucas likes his sweatshirt because it has his initials on it or whatever, or it almost spells Lucas, so he takes it. Dead Severed Head says maybe Mia was pregnant with the girl during the boat explosion. That was 3 years ago. That girl's, I don't know. That girl's older than 3 years old, right? She's got to be like, 6? I don't really know ages of children by looking at them. Oh, and Jack says, what about the ghost girl in the demo? I think that might be a demo exclusive character, and that might be one of the 5 people that were murdered. Like an early design of Mia or an early design of an enemy that they just kept in the demo because they already designed it. But Ghost Girl could definitely be in the game, and if she is, then there's so many women in the game that who knows who's who. There would be Ghost Girl, there would be Mia, there would be Marguerite, there would be the little girl, there would be the phone girl. That would be 5 women, and they all could be related, and it's just the possibilities are like endless. It's like 5 times 5 times 5 times 5. It's crazy. But a lot of the original theory videos that we did were based on that. Host says it's one of the 20 people that are missing. That's another thing. We've seen an article in the newspaper in the game, in the demo or trailer, and it says 20 people missing on the bayou or something. And that might be why the police officer comes to the house to look for the latest missing person. Now, however, you notice the sewer gators in the tape said that the Baker family went missing. So the Baker family is actually seems to be presumed to be one of the 20 people that are missing, even though they're the ones that we know are probably doing it. But they are missing as well in the eyes of, I guess, the police or whatever. And the house in the demo was different from the plantation house, so maybe they have left their house and now they've squatted in the plantation house, which is somewhere, around the corner. Brenton says the little girl's the real monster. Caliban says, has the PC arrived? Yes, it has. And it's all colorful. Oh, it went off. But, yeah, there's the PC right there. I haven't had time to set it up or anything yet. Kevin says, what is this song? This is one of the free YouTube songs, and I have used free YouTube songs in all of my videos, and you can find them. This one's called Cool Cats. I know the name of this one. A lot of them I don't know the name when you don't have to cite the source. I just call it the news song or whatever. And King Nate, who's not in here, he has contributed $3 to the channel. So he's leading the contribution train so that I could get new music, which is kind of funny. Could the new Goldheart? So if you guys saw the video I did today, it was about Umbrella, and I could have done this video 6 months ago because Umbrella is the number one suspect all the time when Resident Evil comes out. The first enemy you think of is Umbrella, so I wanted to get that one over with early. And then we've got Neo Umbrella, we've got Tricell, we've got the family. Some of these are sects of each other, but there's different little groups that are in Resident Evil, so I kind of wanted to go through the different ones like that. And then this new company, Shengya, was in Umbrella Corps, the game, and a lot of people are connecting the Umbrella Corps game with Resident Evil 7, and that's why the games are coming out in the same year, and they want to connect those two together somehow. And the producer said that Umbrella Corps was canon. That would be Kawada said that. And if you need the quote, tweet me and I'll send you the exact quote, but that's what he said. And we saw the CEDEC pictures or whatever a long time ago. Some Umbrella Corps agents or whatever, which the magazine said that they were talking about different games while they were doing this presentation, but they might have some kind of connection to the game. Yeah, we did a video on Wesker coming back a long time ago, and I always throw it into different videos kind of as a joke. But it'd be very weird to bring him back again. They keep bringing him back randomly. Yeah, Blue Sheep said that in Umbrella Corps there's a Wesker voice, which I listened to a bunch of times. But I don't know. I didn't really connect it. I think it was just something they put in there so that we would constantly talk about Wesker. Just like I think a lot of the data mine stuff was put in there so we just have something to talk about. And Nemi says, this is a good question. Do you think that the 5 gravestone puzzle from the demo and the dummy finger will be back in the real game? I didn't think so until you just asked that question, because I'm pretty sure we're going to come back to this house, and a lot of you have seen the people who have cracked the demo and have gone into the different rooms, and now I can do that on my own, maybe. And so this house has different rooms in it that we haven't been in the demo that they might utilize in the real game, and Biohazard France says that we're going to find the same exact VHS tape that we found before with the sewer gators and have to watch that one again. But actually, all the VHS tapes are optional. You do not have to do them, but you might find something like in the demo where you get a lockpick and open a drawer that's open later. So you're probably going to want to do all the VHS tapes, especially the first time through. Maybe the second time through, you know everything, you don't have to do them. But first time through, that's going to be one of my favorite parts that I'm looking forward to, is the different tapes, and not the two that we've seen for the last 6 months, but new tapes. Caliban says he doesn't think that Umbrella Corps is connected with RE7. I never thought the side games would ever be connected, but people say that they are, and people even say that the comic book is connected now. So that's kind of weird that the comic book would be somehow connected. And then the other thing Goldheart mentions is Vendetta is coming out. Now, will that be a bridge to Resident Evil 7 or a connection to Resident Evil 7? I watched the 2 trailers of it. It didn't show me too much. I didn't really zoom in or look at them too closely, but Mel says, how many VHS tapes do you guess are in the whole game? What do you guys think? Do you think we're going to see just a couple, or do you think we're going to see a lot? I think we're going to watch Mia transform from a girl to a monster through VHS tapes, through different ones. So we're going to maybe find a tape of her on the boat, and that'll be the first tape, maybe even the intro. And then we'll find a tape of her, in the Lantern demo that we know of, where she's running away. And then the next tape, maybe we find a kitchen tape where she's actually the monster or something like that. See, I think, Jake is Wesker's son, and I think of all the characters that would come back, he would be one of the characters that would come back to this game. And I wonder if he'll become a bad guy, if he's like a Darth Vader style character where he's a good guy in the beginning and he becomes a bad guy because the dark side lives within him. That is not a Star Wars quote. Host says maybe there'll be secret VHS tapes. That would be very cool too. And there's also a chance that the DLC could be like VHS tapes where you have to go into the game to play it. I don't know if that's true, because the first DLC is called Banned Footage, and it's only on PlayStation, or it's first on PlayStation. I still haven't figured that out yet. I think it's just first on PlayStation. And then Goldheart says, Sherry, so I ask this every week, but let's tell me what character you would like to see come back in Resident Evil 7. And I will read your answers aloud while you read silently. Quentin says, there's been a lot of talk about this is the funniest thing ever. So a long time ago when the trailer, the trailer came out, or the Sewer Gators VHS tape in the demo came out, and it had that little Easter egg of Resident Evil 2. And then somebody like a week ago or 2 days ago was like, we think Resident Evil 2 is going to be in the game because this cool Easter egg someone found. And then it links back to August. And if you look at the Lantern tape, there's also a little code that says Resident Evil 3. So, I mean, they just put these little Easter eggs in there. It doesn't mean anything about getting a demo or anything like that. But that's how that rumor has started to spread over the last week, because somebody wrote an article from 3 months ago talking about that old news like it was new news, which is something that's kind of annoying. There was another video people were sending me where they're like, this is new information. The mold monsters were made out of meat, and that's how they created them. And then I Googled it, and it was from an article back in August as well. So all this new information that comes, like the internet cycle, it goes away and it comes back as new news, even though it's old news. I've noticed that happening a lot in Resident Evil land, along with so many fake rumors that have taken hold. Oh my gosh, those fake data, or not fake data mine, the fake spoilers that were posted to Reddit that some people just believed immediately, and all sorts of stuff like that. So I cannot wait till the game comes out and we see what's real and what's fake. And also, thanks to the 35 people who gave the old thumbs up. Next week, the show's going to be a little bit better because we're going to have different visuals and stuff like that. This is kind of the final low-key episode where we're just kind of chatting with each other. All right, so a lot of people want Hunk. Voodoo Demon want Hunk to come back. Blue Sheep wants Sherry and Ada. Host wants Jake. Mel wants Jill. Jack wants Leon. Exodia wants Wesker. Hellhounds wants Leon. Goldheart likes everybody. Conte wants Leon. Brenton, we don't really talk about the data mine, but it did not say that. So, Redfield wants Billy. Gotaku wants Lisa Trevor, and that is I want Lisa Trevor as well. I did like 3 theories about how the Trevor family is connected, and that would be so awesome because, not just because of I really hate that character in Resident Evil 1, but it would just make my day from all the guessing that I've done about her and the virus and progenitor. Another Billy here, that was Michab. And Kissin' Angel says she misses Jill. I'm guessing Hunter wants to see some hunters. How about some classic enemies? What classic enemies would you want to see? We talked about earlier how we've only seen basically 2 kinds of molded looking enemies and the Bakers. What classic enemies would you want to see or do you think would be in the game? And the obvious one is dogs, because dogs live everywhere. They're a classic enemy of Resident Evil. I don't see how they can do a game without them. Exodia says Crimson Heads. How about we get zombies first and then? Kissin' Angel says Nemesis. I think Jack Baker is like the new Nemesis. Hellhound says Resident Evil 2 zombies. That was another CEDEC photo of zombies that I think was actually from Resident Evil 2 Remake that people confused with Resident Evil 7. Brian says a gator. Demon says lickers and hunters. Goldheart says a scorpion. Now there is a scorpion door in Resident Evil 7. But here's the interesting thing about the scorpion boss, and I know this because this is the one video I did on a boss before I got distracted by Resident Evil 7. That the scorpion, they didn't like it, that big one on the train, because it was too slow moving. So that's why they discontinued doing scorpions. But this could be this is obviously could be not Umbrella or something else. And there could be scorpions, and I think they would be little tiny scorpions this time. Alligators and crocodiles, definitely. Host wants to see another tyrant. Everybody wants to see zombies. And half the people say they don't want to see Crimson Heads. A lot of tyrants. Nemi says the sharks from Resident Evil 1. Yes, Neptune is a great enemy. Max says he wants to see Carlos. See, some of these, it's good that I've been playing 1, 2, 3, and Veronica, because I wouldn't have remembered who Carlos was until playing through it again. But there's a lot of those side characters. I don't know who's alive and dead. That's the only problem with that. Dead Severed Head said another yawn, and now I'm yawning. Why did you do that to me? Exodia says regenerators. McBoogieball says this stream sucks. Yeah, got one. Evan Max says spiders. Well, Evan Max says the big spiders. Now, there are little spiders in the game that we see in a photograph that Capcom released, and in the photograph, we're using the knife to knock them off a doorknob or something. So there are little spiders in there, and we think Margarita's probably controlling them because she's controlling the wasps. And Biohazard France said there were centipedes in the game too, so I don't know if they're enemies or little centipedes or what the deal is with those. And a lot of people want to see, SCH Gaming says Iron Maiden, but yeah, the Regenerator, the Iron Maiden, Leechman, that's similar character. There's so many characters, enemies that they design that look like other enemies in the game, so... And the Molded reminds people a lot about them. Another thing that I'm going to do in these episodes here, once I get all the equipment set up, is feature different zombs that are cool, different Crimson Army people. Last week we talked about Caliban and Goldheart. So I'll start that up again next week, but basically tonight's special Zom focus is on all of you guys. I recognize all, like 90% of you. The new people, welcome. Kiss and Angel, Blue Sheep, Jack Baker, Quentin, Nivan, Mel Blanc, SCH Gaming, Nemi, you guys have been there. Evan, Host, Hellhounds. I mean, I just could read them all. Dead Severed Heads. You've been in the streams all the time, and it's just a lot of fun to chat with you guys. And I definitely need to come up with some kind of list so that you guys can all connect with each other, either through Twitter or wherever else you guys are. Because I see you guys talk to each other in the chat room, but if there's no chat room, then what's going on? And Voodoo says, will there be an automatic auto rifle? Earlier we were talking about weapons and assault rifle, stuff like that. I don't know that those would be in the game. Maybe they will. All I know is that this freaking Jack Baker shirt is freaking hot, and it's an XL, and I'm getting there, but I'm not an XL yet. And it's like a used shirt, like an old used shirt, and it smells like a grandma's house. It smells like Grandma Baker. Nick Knox says the Umbrella helicopter picture is the same from Code Veronica. Well, I will be playing Code Veronica at 9:30 tonight, so come join us then and check that out. We'll definitely be looking for that. I don't wear pants when I do streaming, so all you see is my face. So I don't need to do the whole outfit. I just need to do the upper body. I need to get my head bald, and I need to get gray hair, and I need to get some glasses. Redfield says, I think you get a shotgun if you pre-order. There's different pre-order bonuses in different countries. In the United States, all you get are two herbs and a coin. And each country, special editions are like specific to a store. And I can't remember the name of the European store off the top of my head. But the European one came with like a big list. Like, I don't think it had shotgun, but it had magnum bullets. It had herbs. It had flame stuff, fire stuff. Tulsa, going back to Twitter at Where's Barry B, for the enemies. Tulsa wants Gravedigger. Isn't that's a pretty cool like Wu-Tang group as well. Or Hunters. Chris asks on Twitter, if the monsters we know form from mold, what happens to you after the infected ending from the demo? And there's also in tape 3, you see that guy that we all, like, if you watch the live stream, I'm like, zombies! Yeah, zombies! And it's not zombies. It looks like the guy turning into stone or mold or whatever. So it looks like there is some kind of infection that turns you. And I think Lucas might have it in the beginning of the... Not Lucas. Ethan might have that infection at the beginning, because it sounds like the goal of the game is not just to escape the house, but to also find the cure for your infection. And that is kind of a paraphrase from a podcast done by GameSpot people who played the game. He was saying that you're searching for the serum to constantly cure yourself so that you don't turn into the infected. So you may be infected the whole time. And then Host says, what about New Game Plus? Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens when you beat the game, what kind of stuff you get. I was I whistled. I was super disappointed at the end of Resident Evil 3 when I learned that you get nothing. You have to play Mercenaries mode for like 5 years in order to earn the different items, and you can't use Game Shark because it's on PS3 instead of my PS1. So next time I play Resident Evil 3, I won't have infinite weapons. Boo. World of Classics says, I wonder if each time we get hit, we're going to have to cure the infection. See, I don't think it's going to be like poison, where it's going to affect you like that. But in the demo, there were different points. So once you get to the doorway, then it hits. It wasn't on a timer. It was on a location. So I think during the game, you get infected in the beginning, you get to checkpoint number 8, and then you get a little more infected. And then you get to checkpoint number 20, and then you get a little more infected, and maybe you cure yourself. I'm not sure how that would work. And Evan, yeah, you can see, the guy was telling me that he was saying in this podcast that the serum is what you're after, and you're trying to learn about the serum and the cure. And it sounded like it was some big thing, but then he also said he mixed an herb with a chem fluid to make the serum and poured it on his hand. So maybe the serum is just the health, and maybe that special health medicine cures your, not just heals you, but cures your, infection. So every time you use an herb or a health, you're curing the infection. So it's not the same as poison where you have to use a blue one. But again, we don't really know yet. I can't wait till it comes out. I hope Capcom sends me a copy. All right. This was a lot of fun to go through the different questions that you guys had. Thanks to all the people who watched. Thanks to the 42 people who gave a like, a thumbs up right over there. This show is 1 hour long, and we're at 56 minutes, so we are winding down here. As I showed you guys, this cool computer I have is right here, ready to go for next week's stream on Wednesday night, and we'll have a little bit more excitement than just my powder face on screen. We'll have some different visuals, maybe some different music, maybe some Skype callers. I'm going to be working on that all week, and it's going to be cool. I'm also going to continue the stream of Code Veronica when this is over in about 30 minutes, so 9:30. I'm going to take a little break and then do that. So come back for that. I hope everyone having a good New Year. We're almost to the freaking game. I've got a couple more theory videos to come out between then, and try to avoid the spoilers. They're coming. So thanks a lot, everybody. I'll stick around in the chat for a few minutes. Don't forget about thanking Caliban for designing the cool shirt. And mine will be coming in the mail in a week or so, and then we will be getting these out to some cool zoms. And other than that, Instagram. I'm Instagramming, straight flexing all the time. So that's a fun place to kind of see the different old school Resident Evil pictures from the streams and stuff. Thanks, Demon. Thanks, Amuro. Thanks, Blue Sheep. Thanks, Brenton. Thanks, Bandicoot. Thanks, Spiral. Thanks, Dean. Thanks, Evan Max. Thanks, Exodia. Thanks, Goldheart. Thanks, Host. Thanks, Jack Baker. Thanks, Kiss and Angel. Thanks, L1. Thanks, Magikarp. Thanks, Max. Thanks, Mel. Thanks, Big Job. Thanks, Nick Knock. Thanks, Nightbot. Thanks, Nivon. Thanks, Objective Apples. Thanks, Conte. Thanks, Redfield. Thanks, SCH. Thanks, Shadowcast. And thank you, World of Classics, for all sticking around till the end of the show. I will catch you guys next Wednesday. I'll see you guys during the week on different streams. I'll talk to you on Twitter. I'll talk to you on Instagram. And I'll catch you later, evil dudes. Bye, Amanda.